celebrate wins, whether they are large or small. So if you're shy, be
I
bold
got a win.
person. Yeah, tell us, Malcolm.
Well, I just told Nicole yesterday, but for the first time beforehand, I was always able to pick. I was picking, choosing certain work, but I really didn't have the luxury. But it's because I didn't want to deal with certain stuff or whatever. But now it's a win for me. The fact that I actually got calls coming in such a way where I'm turning some away, and I can actually have the luxury of picking and choosing and pricing things and all that because I have to make that choice. You know what I mean? So it feels good.
Yes. Love that.
Love
Yes.
Love to see
Only
it.
He's getting popular.
Yes, only taking jobs that financially make sense. We say it all the time. Sales is about sorting. If people don't want to pay your trip fee, if they're just trying to price shop over the phone, those are probably not our people. Let's get rid of them. Sales is about sorting. And so I appreciate you sharing that with us, Malcolm. Anybody else have any quick wins here before we get into it?
Anything related maybe even to the call from last week about going through some expenses, doing the triple D?
I have a win that I was going to share on my presentation, but I'll go ahead and put it up here. Do we have Danae on here today? World Fire Protection, is she here?
I don't think we do.
Well, I have 2 client wins. So Bryce brought this one up for Danae. They established a collections process, reduced 60 days past due collections by 81%. So that's huge.
What?
Yeah. Also, Dave Holstrom, I don't know if he's on this one. He was on the last call, but they had baby number 13 last week.
Oh my
And he
gosh.
still made it to the group call and our meeting on Friday. I was so impressed. Yeah, 13. So
Good night.
Gosh.
good for him. He's building, he's Intent Build is the name of his company. So he's building a whole crew, he said. It's awesome.
That's
Wow.
awesome. Well,
Wow.
Bryce, is your client Best Quality Home on this call?
No, I was hoping to see him this morning. Yeah, I was
Damn
going to
it.
share. I know. Yeah, so in relation to our call last week, we're looking at some costs and things, and because we've been doing tracking for a while now, we're seeing where leads are coming from and what ultimately happens with those leads and how much they're costing. And they've been doing, since they started, they've been doing work with Home Advisor, which I know. But we looked at it and saw that a lot of those leads that were coming in, ultimately they just went to rejected. They went red. They weren't turning into anything. We had 1 or 2 that came through, but they were spending about 5% of their monthly revenue getting these Home Advisor leads. And sometimes it paid for itself, but the investment wasn't worth it. And we looked at that compared to some of the Google leads we've been getting and decided to reallocate that budget into Google instead. Because those are going to turn into much more jobs. We could have also, that's kind of related to the triple D. We could have also just saved that 5% of expenses, but they're wanting to grow pretty aggressively. So they chose to reallocate it into better marketing. So huge win for them.
That's awesome. That's awesome.
Yes, that's huge. And that 5%, I love how we dollarized it there. Where 5%, that's 1,500. That's significant. What could your business do if you were saving 1,500? I was talking with a client earlier this week, a newer one. We're starting tracking together, and the power of moving from feeling the fact. When you're tracking, when you're going through the triple D, when you're looking at your expenses, you're no longer, I feel like maybe we're not, we're paying this much to Angie's List. I don't think I'm getting that back. We're not operating by feeling anymore. We know we can make decisions like this that can make such a huge impact to the business. So I'll get off my soapbox here. I'll let Juliet take it away. So today, what we're going to be talking about is the power of sales checklists and home safety inspections. These are great ways to increase ticket prices. I know some of you are getting into your slower season, so you might be a little bit worried. This is a super powerful tool to help you get through that slow season. So Julia, lead us through.
Okay, I want to go ahead and cover this topic and leave some more time for breakout rooms today because there's a lot of work that that we all want to start to implement today in each of our businesses. If you're already doing this, let's just perfect it and hone in on this system because it's money. Okay, so just so I know my audience here, I just want to make sure we're all on the same page because I never want to assume. Raise your hand if you hate money. Okay. Raise your hand if you hate doing a good job for your customers. Okay. Oh, Harley, come on. All right, I'm talking to the right people, minus Harley. Okay, so you guys are going to make my job easy today, but what we're going over here is the home inspection checklist and the sales checklist. It's a way to, like Nicole said, add to that top line revenue, but then also provide better value and do a better job for our customers. You guys have all been to Jiffy Lube, right? Some of us, I'm sure somebody here has been to Jiffy Lube. I have. They love to see me coming, you guys, because I drive my car for like 6, 7, 8 years. I love not having a car payment. So I also drive really, really fast. So every time I'm coming, they're like, ooh, we're going to upsell this one. But, you know, you go to the Jiffy Lube model, and each mechanic is like going through a list of manufacturer guidelines for your vehicle. Hey, you've got to replace X, Y, and Z. Also, your air filter's low. Check your fluids, this and that, right? So, you know, I joke about my car, but in all honesty, like if they weren't taking care of that, like I'm certainly not. I don't know anything about that. So this is basically the model that we're wanting to build into our businesses here. So sales checklists and home inspection checklists. So why use this? Why even talk about this? Why spend time today even going through this? Well, like we said, gain top line revenue. So if you guys are wanting to gain revenue here, especially if we're going into our slower season, you can either A, increase leads, or B, increase your average ticket total. So today is all about B, increasing that average ticket total. So you can maximize the revenue on all jobs, right? Like the jobs that you guys are already going to, the money that you're already spending, the gas, the labor, all of those things. You can maximize the revenue that for the company on every single job. Not only that, but you can maximize ad spend. So when we were talking about wins, Bryce brought up an awesome one, like related to this subject. If you're paying like Thumbtack, Home Advisor, even as lean as our cost per lead is on Google local services, or you know, maybe money that we've invested with SEO and things like that, even as lean as Google can get that, we still want to make the most out of that, right? I mean, nobody here hates money. We already established that. So it will cover the cost of the lead, and it'll actually build in more profit by implementing this. It will also create more referrals. So we want to better serve our customer. I mean, ultimately, that's the goal. Nobody's here just out trying to do a bad job. We're just trying not to serve the customer, right? All of you guys, I'm assuming most of you, you got in business because, you know, you found a problem, you solved it. Like, that's what you guys are great at. And so by doing this, we're able to serve the customer better. We're able to wow the customer by getting more referrals. So creating that wow factor, there's all kinds of different ways that we can bring the wow factor and bring more value to our customers. This is a great thing to do. This is a great thing to implement. What this does is it shows your customer that you have it all together. You have all of the need that they came for. You have it together, and you have it tied up with a nice little pretty bow, you know? Let's talk about providing more value to the customer specifically. So how is this actually going to benefit the customer? Well, for one, they have a licensed expert in their house already inspecting things at no additional charge. Whether, you know, we're talking about like a service-based business for like a lot of you plumbers or HVAC companies, electricians, you guys have to be licensed. I know some states like require a general contracting license for our remodelers, some don't. But regardless, you have a licensed expert, or just a flat expert in your house, inspecting the complex mechanics of our homes at no additional charge. Like, as a consumer, we love that. Inspections, if you're, I don't know what you guys are charging, but like, I know around here, like if I were to call and get an inspection because, my AC sounds weird or what have you, typically that's going to be anywhere from about $200 to $400 just for the inspection alone. So the customer is getting more value. If customers decide to fix whatever else may be broken or whatever other kind of like need we're bringing to the table here, we're finding that during this inspection, so it's cheaper to fix it today, right? You guys aren't having to do a separate service call. You guys aren't having to complete another quote on a build out project. If they're going to, build a deck out in the patio and you also, hey, by the way, we could add siding here. Like, great, awesome. We could get all this done here. We already have the materials, so it really is a cheaper way for them to do this. And your customers are going to appreciate that because sooner or later they will have to do it. You're just saving them money now. The next thing is when this is, we'll get into a little more detail on this point here in a bit, but when you're presenting this or your techs or whoever, when this is, being presented to the customer, there's no obligation to buy. All you're doing is pointing out a need that the customer either has right now or will have or what have you, and you're offering to take care of that. No pressure. It's not a hard sell. We'll go into that more in detail, but there's no obligation to buy. It really is just serving the customer and maximizing your time. Also, this is, I think, very underrated here. It gives the customer peace of mind, knowing that their system is in good working order. I think sometimes like peace of mind, it's such a buzzword in marketing, it's very overused, but in all reality, when a customer purchases something, especially something like their house, their plumbing units, their AC units, their electrical wiring, all of those things, just knowing that things are in good working order, that gives them peace of mind. They're not thinking about that and wondering, am I going to have a $10,000, $5,000, $15,000 cost that I don't know about? No, you've given that to them. This is a great part too. This is a huge benefit to implementing this. It's better training, better systems, and better processes for your team. Here's why. So one, you're demonstrating your knowledge, beyond the initial call. You're teaching your team to demonstrate knowledge beyond the additional call. You're bringing up more questions. This is like presenting more of like a broad array of work for the new hires faster. They're being exposed to more on every single job. Furthermore, they're able to see, more often than what they normally would without this. They know what something looks like when it looks right. They're able to understand the mechanics of fixing it whenever it doesn't, because they're used to checking those things and inspecting those things. Or for like builders and remodelers, this is a good thing to have because this gives you direct insight into additional needs that your customers may be having, so you know exactly what to spend time training your team on or additional services you can provide. We don't want to be the jack of all trades, right? We always talk about that. Don't be the guy that's the jack of all trades, because we can quickly get into profit issues and chaos in our business and things like that. But if there's a direct additional need that you find out through this process that we can better serve our customers, great, let's add it. Okay, and so how can this actually apply to you? So let's talk about specifically the sales process. So this one topic alone we've covered before. This could be a whole hour and a half to 3 hour talk if you really got me going here. But ultimately, sales is providing value to the customer. It's solving a problem. So you have rapport, you have needs, you have benefits, you close the deal. What this is focusing on, you've already built rapport at this point. or you wouldn't be in their home. So this is further finding the need. It's making sure that, you know, we're not hard selling here. We're not trying to push this on the customer. This is a very soft sell. This is providing value. They either need it or they don't. So for remodelers specifically, we'll go into some of the details in the breakout room about like questions we could be asking, things you guys are already doing, how we can create a system, things like that. But I know a guy who sold an $80,000 outdoor kitchen on a simple pergola call just by asking the right questions. Like literally up the ticket an extra 80,000. You know, it's like, whoa, he just asked the right questions. Service companies, we have, oh, one thing I was going to add on the remodeling space of it here, create customer profiles. So one example on the 80,000 outdoor kitchen, how he found this out by asking the right questions was, do you guys typically entertain? You know, how big is your family? Do you guys like watching sports? Do you typically watch your football outside? You know, just creating some customer profiles so that you know just through the experience that you guys are already experts in on how to better serve these folks.
Yeah, something
And
that
then
I'll add to that, just
yeah.
a small point, is that for a lot of that, it's just they may be looking to hire somebody else for that job. They just don't know that you do it or that you
Right.
could provide that service. And so that's a way to do it as well. Go ahead, Julia.
Yeah, right, exactly. And then how many subs do you know? You know, this also opens the door for that. Like even if you weren't adding services to offer, hey, I need to get a sub for this because this is a way I could provide more value to folks. Service companies, define your points. So we'll go into this in a lot more detail in the breakout rooms. I want to make sure we have time for that. But define your points. So like, you know, for a plumber, for example, you could do a 20-point home inspection checklist. Call it for roofers, a 20-point roofing evaluation. You know, whatever you want to call it, define what that's going to be, but define the points that you want to cover. We'll go into that more in detail here in just a minute. Okay, how to implement. This is key. So you guys your wheels are already turning. Some of you are already doing this. We could perfect certain things in it, but a lot of you guys are already doing this. But there's a right way and a wrong way to implement this. So here's the big thing, because here at Redmond Growth, a lot of times we say things like, you know, there's not really a right or a wrong way. Just do it. Just do it. Well, this is one of those topics that there absolutely is a wrong way to do this. So let's go over some of the specifics. So when you're doing a home safety inspection here, if you perform this the right way and you develop and mentor and train your team to implement this the right way, it will save you money. It will put thousands back into your profits in your business every month. But if it's offered the wrong way, it makes people feel weird. It makes people feel uncomfortable. Your team's going to push back and complain about how it doesn't work. And it's not going to be a good thing. So the right way to offer this, I'm just going to role play here for just a minute. I want to pick on Bryce. You can be my pushback guy. Okay. So Bryce, how'd we do for you today? Is everything looking okay?
Yep, looking good. I need to talk to my wife.
Okay, absolutely. Well, it's not every day that you have a licensed and trained technician in your home. So as an added benefit, we'd like to go ahead and, you know, check on the rest of your system that we didn't cover today, make sure that there are no other issues. That being said, if we find something that needs to be fixed, you know, you can decide to fix it today at a cheaper rate, get every aspect of your system to optimal efficiency and performance. But of course, there's no obligation for additional work after this inspection. Sound like a plan?
Sure, yeah. Okay.
So it's not like a hard sell. It's simply like, hey, it's not every day you have a licensed specialist in your home. We want to make sure there's nothing else wrong with your system. We want to make sure that we offer this free home safety inspection to our customers to save them money today, or at the very least, make sure that everything's in working order. Okay, now I'm going to do my very corny attempted impression here at the wrong way to offer, so you guys can get a good laugh. Okay, hey, do you want me to do a home safety inspection, Bryce?
Is that going to cost me money?
Well, I mean, well, I don't know. It might, but you don't have to if you don't want to. It's okay.
Yeah, that's okay. We'll go without.
Like, what is that? You know? Or another good one is like, hey, we offer home safety inspections if you want one. You know, so there really is a right way, there's a wrong way to do this, and there's nothing wrong with your team at all. Your team's great, but if you don't train them how to do this, they're gonna do it the wrong way, and it makes people uncomfortable. It makes people feel like they're being hard, like the whole hard selling thing, the used car salesman. Like, there's a wrong way and there's a right way to do this. Expect pushback. Like, your team, if you haven't ever implemented anything like this, or even if you're training like an extra sales guy, like you guys are growing, you're training an extra sales guy, an extra sales girl, what have you, expect pushback, because a lot of times we think like all of us have a tendency to do this. Oh, I already know how to sell. Oh, I already know how to do this. Oh, I'm the owner of the company. Oh, I've been coaching for 4 years. I know how to do this. You know, our egos kind of do this to us, and so expect pushback. That's normal, but there's money here, there's efficiency here, there's systems. Here's the other thing: the checklist must be done on every job by every employee. Consistency is key here. You won't have a system replacement every time you use this checklist. You're not gonna automatically find 5 more things wrong and just on every job add an extra $15,000 ticket every time. That's not how this works. But what it is it's ensuring that you're taking care of your customers at the highest possible degree, and that you're not missing out on opportunities to make more profit. This isn't like, you know, the carrot stick approach or like slap on the wrist if your team isn't you know, upselling every single job. No, that's not what this is. We're teaching the team to ask these questions, to implement this checklist. We're holding them accountable. We're checking on them. We're training on them. We're pouring into them. We're mentoring them. So that's the biggest thing, is as long as it's done on every job, every time, as long as we have a solid system and we're always refining and providing more value on that system, that's the point here, guys. Consistent. Oh,
Sorry.
go ahead.
Something that I've heard Harley say a couple of times, because he's right behind me and he coaches people all day long too. But something I've heard him say a lot of times I think is really good is when you have things like these checklists, and specifically in the sales process, before you do any work, what that demonstrates to a customer is light years away. You're coming in as a consultant or an advisor. You're the expert witness in a court case almost, where you're saying, hey, we don't want to get tunnel visioned into just what you call us out for. We know by experience that this could be related to more. And it oftentimes is not. You don't win on every single call when you do this, but you win on the opportunities that are there by making sure you do this every time, like Julia's saying.
I'll add to that. Because Bryce is right, I do say those things, so he is listening. But when you come into a homeowner's place, they think of you as a sales guy or a tech right off the bat, because that's what people are used to. And so what we're trying to do here with this inspection checklist and all these other great things about a sales process is we're trying to show the client that the customer that we're so much more than just a tech guy or a sales guy. And the sooner you can convince them that you're actually an advisor, helping them have the best plumbing system, electrical hardware, kitchen remodel that's best for them specifically as an advisor, then that's when you can really close deals that are much larger than you could expect from people.
Yeah, and that's also how you scale past yourself. You know, to Harley's point, you're teaching your team to be the consultant, to be the expert. So the more consistency that you have here, you know, you'll never scale past yourself if you're the only one doing it right and there's not a documented system and we haven't trained our team. So this is a good start to that. I put a Jack Welch quote up here just because I love Jack Welch quotes. People development should be a daily event, integrated into every aspect of your regular goings on. So in your all staff meeting, most of you guys have that agenda and everything. Even go in and add a section there. Sales process, checklists, even if it's something that we're just touching base on daily. Hey, don't forget the home inspection checklist. How did we do yesterday on those? Hey, don't forget, follow the sales check process before you go out and bid any kind of remodeling job. However you guys do that, just make sure it's consistent. We want to see this really quick, and then we're going to go into breakout rooms to implement this. Okay, so I have a couple examples here. Let's go into the sales process for remodelers first. So start with a document where you're lining everything out. So greet the customer in a friendly manner. What are things that you do? Hawk is wearing that polo shirt. So somebody else on here, whoever else is wearing that Under Armour shirt, I can't remember. But you know, you guys have your branded shirt, like that's key. And then get the customer talking. So whatever words that you say to get the customer talking, have them write that down. Okay, so tell me about your vision here. What are you thinking? Meaning money's not an issue. And if you could just build whatever you want in a dream world, talk to me about this project. This gives you more things you could be thinking in the mind of the customer when you sit down to bid the job. And then of course it just lines out every specific thing you're doing, your walkthroughs, reviewing the timeline, your budget, your one sheets, going over the one sheet with them. Hey, is there a place, you guys, that we could sit down and go over a few things here? My screen's gonna load. There it is. All right, well, I want to cover a couple things with you. Boom, boom, boom. Everything is made to where it's built out in a script. Everything right that you're already saying, you guys are the experts in your business, so you're already saying it all right. There could be things we could spice or maybe change and whatnot, but you know what you're doing. So we're just wanting to take your expert, your brain, and just put it in a system here. So build this out, and in these breakout rooms, we'll have copies of these. So this is implementation. We'll get you these. So let's talk like plumbers, electricians, HVAC companies. You have a home inspection or home safety plumbing inspection checklist. That's what I was saying earlier. Define what you want to call it. Define how many points you have. This one has 19. I've seen some that have, looks like 35. I've seen some that have 10, you know, main shutoff valve, water heater, gas lines, furnace, kitchen sink. A lot of this stuff is information that the homeowner's insurance is asking them to be doing anyway. Insurance companies are big on this kind of stuff. If you have a water leak, like, well, the homeowner should have known, you know, it's just stuff like this. You're providing more value. Okay, so let's get into our breakout rooms because I want us all to get to work here. And I'm excited to see what you guys come up with.